We'd like to know more. Scott Johnson is a Minnesota attorney. He's a contributor to Powerline. He worked closely with Steinberg on this latest piece, and he joins us tonight. Scott, thanks very much for coming on. So this new allegation that Omar is not her name is made with some documentary evidence backing it up. I guess my first question would be, has Omar commented on this?
The answer to that is no. And I can't say that anyone has asked her about her, but her response to every question addressed to her that relates to any of these issues has been a non-response and an imputation of bigotry to the person asking it, including to the Star Tribune in their June 23rd story that you alluded to. When they asked her about these revelations that had come out in the Minnesota State Campaign Finance Board investigation that suggested that her marriage to husband number two, Ahmed Elmi, was a sham because she'd been filing tax returns with another man whom she wasn't married to while she was still married to Ahmed Elmi. When the Star Tribune asked her about that, she implied that the Star Tribune was colluding with Powerline in its bigoted pursuit of this story. And that's been her approach to a response to this story for the past 3 years. It's worked well for her so far, and it's really this State Campaign Finance Board findings that came out on June 6th last month that initiated this wave of attention to the story regarding the sham marriage she entered into in 2009. She always talks about her faith tradition when she talks about her marriages, but coincidentally, we posted on Powerline a screenshot of her marriage certificate to Ahmed Elmi, the husband number two, and the marriage was performed by a Christian minister who signed it. So I have to say, when you say there's smoke, there's an awful lot of smoke, and Ilhan Omar's answer to all questions related to this has been a non-response and accusations of bigotry. That's her modus operandi.
So if the Star Tribune, which is run by cringing liberals, is a racist organ, then you know that we're dealing with a very high level of BS here. What is your view of this? You've looked as closely into this as anybody. Do you believe that she was involved in a sham marriage to her biological brother?
The sham marriage part I would put at a 98% level of certainty. That's my view. The marriage to her brother part I would put at about a 90% level of certainty. I would urge your viewers to take a look at David Steinberg's incredible piece of investigative journalism that we published on Powerline this morning. David lays out a variety of evidence, photographic, social media posts, interviews, and the like, showing the family relationships and reconstructing her original family, including the siblings in the United Kingdom, who include this Ahmed Elmi, whom she married in the year 2009 and who has returned to the United Kingdom. You really have to see this with your own eyes to see how much substance there is to the story, and I think there's a lot of substance.
I agree with that completely. This is not something that can be dismissed as a conspiracy theory or some right-wing nonsense. This is absolutely real. It's linked, by the way, live on Tucker Carlson Tonight Facebook page, and we hope our viewers will check it out. Scott Johnson, thank you very much for this. I know that we'll talk to you again. Good to see you.
Thank you for your interest in the story, Tucker.
It's an amazing story. Katie Pavlich is an editor at townhall.com. Yesterday, she tweeted this point, which is a good point, quote, "The Beltway and New York media really want to hammer Trump for saying he heard Ilhan Omar married her brother, but then they'd actually have to cover that story." Which is an absolutely solid point. Katie Pavlich joins us tonight. So, Katie, you've got a better sense of how much coverage the story has received. Any?
Well, in terms of coverage, you see the White House press corps, including Jim Acosta, coming to Ilhan Omar's defense yesterday when the president raised this point, which, as the journalist you just had on laid out all of the evidence that they have found, that certainly deserves further inspection. Jim Acosta says, well, because Ilhan Omar has denied it and accused anybody who asks questions about it of bigotry and Islamophobia and of misogyny, that it's over. There's nothing to talk about. But, Tucker, this is not about Ilhan Omar's personal life. She wants it to be about that. She's saying, you're interested in my personal life, my marriages. This is about potential fraud that she has engaged in with filing tax returns while she was married legally to one man and not legally married to another. That is illegal. There's a number of questions about the paperwork that she filed in terms of her divorce, saying that in 2011 she had no idea where the man she was married to was. She had no way to get in touch with him, and yet there are photos of them together post-2011. And so this isn't just about attacking Ilhan Omar. She wants everyone to think it is on a personal level because we just don't like where she's from or the color of her skin. It's based on the idea that journalists are supposed to be looking out for the interests of the American people and for the people that Ilhan Omar serves in her district. And instead, they're covering for her and calling the journalists on the ground who have actually looked into this conservative activists instead of taking them seriously.
Exactly. She says she was married in her faith tradition, but she was married by a Christian minister. She's lying.
Yeah.
So you'd think people would follow up on that. Katie Pavlich, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tucker.